It isn't until the live record that we pull out live. I can't remember where we were pulled out live, but the night we did, we all looked around each other. For decades, music, Garth Brooks seemed untouchable. The cowboy hat, the sold-out stadiums, the record-breaking albums, the family man image, it all looked solid. But behind the songs, millions knew by heart was a private life with more music, cracks than fans ever saw. There was an early marriage, 3 daughters, a divorce, a second chance with Trisha Yearwood, and years of carefully guarded calm. Then everything shifted. A former worker stepped forward with claims dark enough to challenge the man the public thought it knew. G denied them. The legal fight only grew uglier. But what I love is we're all together as a family, as a unit, as one. And that's what country music is all about. Dream crossover collaboration for you. Now, questions hang over his marriage, reputation, career, and legacy. So, what really happened behind that famous smile? Join us as we uncover G's rise, loves, losses, hidden tensions, lawsuit, and the fallout still unfolding around him. The boy behind the cowboy hat. Long before the lawsuits, the stadiums, music, and the marriage headlines, G. Brooks was the youngest child in a crowded Oklahoma home. Troy G. Brooks was born on February 7, 1962, in Tulsa. His father, Troy Raymond Brooks, Jr., worked as a draftsman for an oil company. His mother, music, Colleen Roy Carroll, had already lived a piece of the dream her son would later chase. She was a country singer who recorded for Capitol Records and appeared on Ozark Jubilee. Both parents had been married before. Music. So G grew up with 4 older half-siblings, Jim, Jerry, Mike, and Betsy, along with his sister, Kelly. At the family home in Yukon, music was part of the week. The family held talent nights, and every child had to take part by singing or performing skits. G learned guitar and banjo, but music was not yet his whole identity. As a boy, he often sang around the family. Yet, athletics pulled harder. In high school, he played football and baseball and competed in track and field. That path took him to Oklahoma State University in Stillwater on a track scholarship, where he threw the javelin. His life at music night looked different. He worked as a bouncer at a local bar and formed a band called Santa Fe. The crowd did not care about one fixed style, so he learned to play what college students wanted. Through his older siblings, he heard many kinds of music. He liked George Jones, but he was especially drawn to rock and singer-songwriters such as James Taylor, Dan Fogelberg, and Townes Van Zandt. Then George Strait changed the direction. After hearing Strait's 1981 debut single, Unwound, Garth became more serious about country music. He graduated in 1984 with a degree in advertising. His roommate, Ty England, would later play guitar in his road band before going solo. At that point, the pieces were there. Sports, discipline, barroom experience, family music, and a taste that music crossed genres. But before Nashville knew his name, his first real shot at music would arrive. And so would the woman who shared the hard road before fame. Sandy Moll and the first hard road to Nashville. In 1985, Garth began trying to make music his profession. He sang and played guitar in Oklahoma clubs and bars, especially Wild Willie's Saloon in Stillwater. By then, the mix of country, rock, and singer-songwriter music he had grown up hearing was starting to shape his own sound. That year, entertainment music. Attorney Rod Phelps drove from Dallas to hear him. Phelps, music. Liked what he heard, and offered to produce Garth's first demo. He also pushed him toward Nashville, giving him contacts to help with the trip. G went, but the city did not instantly feel like destiny. He returned to Oklahoma within 24 hours. Phelps kept urging him not to give up. Eventually, Garth listened. His private life was moving, too. On May 24th, 1986, music. He married songwriter Sandy Moll. She knew him before the giant crowd's music and before his name became a brand. In 1987, the couple moved to Nashville, and G began building contacts in the music business. That same year, another important relationship began. During a demo music session in songwriter Kent Blasey's attic studio, G met Trisha Yearwood. Both were signed and fighting for a place in Nashville. Yearwood later remembered, "We hit it off," adding that she had no idea he would turn out to be G. Brooks. He promised that if he got music a record deal, she could open his shows. Yet, the meeting confused him. Years later, he said it felt like meeting his wife, music, even though he had been married to Sandy for only 13 months. He also said Trisha was someone he always enjoyed being around, and that they had more in common than he first realized. Still, his marriage to Sandy continued while his friendship with Trisha grew through music. For the next 13 years, G and Trisha remained best friends and collaborators. The first big test, however, was still the career. His first Nashville trip had already ended within 24 hours, and the industry was not known for giving easy second chances. When the music break finally came, it did not arrive gently. It changed his career, his home life, and the scale of everything around him almost at once. The breakthrough that changed country, music. G. Brooks released his first album in 1989, and suddenly the industry could no longer ignore him. The record climbed to number 2 on the country chart and number 13 on the Billboard 200. Its sound favored traditional country, with the George Strait influence that had pulled him toward country. Much Too Young to Feel This Damn Old became a top 10 country hit. Then If Tomorrow Never Comes gave him his first number 1. Not Counting You reached number 2, and The Dance went to number 1. The video for The Dance pushed him toward a broader audience, and he later said it remained his favorite of all his recordings. That year he went on Music, his first major concert tour, as an opening act for Kenny Rogers. 1990 made the rise enormous. No Fences Spent Music. 23 weeks at number 1 on the country album chart, and reached number 3 on the Billboard 200. It became his highest-selling album with 18 million domestic shipments. Friends in Low Places became his signature blue-collar anthem. The Thunder Rolls, Unanswered Prayers, and Two of a Kind Working on a Full House reached number 1. But the songs were only part of it. He carried music, rock energy into country concerts. A wireless headset microphone let him run across the stage. His love of Billy Joel, Bruce Springsteen, Queen, Freddie Mercury, and Kiss showed in the shows, while he said his stage energy came from Chris Liu. By late 1990, he had been inducted into the Grand Ole Opry. Then Roll Pine the Wind arrived in September 1991 with 4 million advance orders. It entered the Billboard 200 at number 1, the first country album to do that. The River, What She's Doing Now, and his cover of Billy Joel's Shameless, helped drive it. He became the first country artist with 3 albums in the Billboard 200 Top 20 in 1 week. NBC filmed his Dallas concerts for television. Fame was no longer coming. It had arrived, and with more eyes on him, his songs, beliefs, and growing friendship with Trisha were moving into the spotlight. A global star, a message of freedom, and Trisha beside him. The early 90s stretched G's reach. After 1992 Los Angeles riots, Music, he co-wrote We Shall Be Free, a gospel country rock blend about tolerance. It became the first single from The Chase. The song reached number 12 on the country singles chart, his first in 3 years to miss the top 10. But it found another meaning. It reached the Christian Songs chart and earned him a 1993 GLAAD Media Award. The lyric about being free to love anyone we choose was read as support of same-sex relationships. His half-sister Betsy, a lesbian musician who had played in his band, gave that issue a personal connection. G later credited her with some of the inspiration for his support of same-sex marriage. But in the early 90s, his career was still racing forward. The Chase produced Somewhere Other Than the Night, Learning to Live Again, and the number 1 song that summer. His 1992 Christmas album, Beyond the Season, became 1992's best-selling Christmas album and reached number 2 on the Billboard 200 in pieces, followed in 1993. G had criticized stores that sold used CDs because artists lost royalties and Capitol delayed shipments to some sellers, leading to antitrust lawsuits before the album shipped. Even with that dispute, In Pieces hit number 1 on the main and country album charts and sold nearly 10 million copies. His first world tour began in 1993. He sold out British venues, including Wembley Arena, despite hostile music press. A radio host called him Gar Vader because of his chart invasion. He took the tour through Europe, Brazil, Australia, and New Zealand. In 1994, he joined his heroes Kiss for a live version of Hard Luck Woman on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Trisha Yearwood kept appearing beside him, too, trading backing vocals and growing closer through music. But as Garth climbed even higher, another part of his life was starting to feel the pressure. The peak years and the pressure at home. By the middle of the decade, Garth Brooks was operating at a scale few country singers had touched. Fresh Horses arrived in November 1995 and sold more than 3 million copies in 6 months. She's Every Woman reached number 1. The Fever, his Aerosmith cover, stopped at number music 23 and became his first country single to miss the top 10. But other songs recovered the momentum, including number 1 hit, The Beaches of Cheyenne. Then came another world tour. Attendance reached about 5.5 million, and the tour grossed more than $15 million, making it one of the biggest tours of the 9S. In 1997, Sevens debuted at number 1 on both the Billboard 200 and the Country Album chart. A capital dispute delayed the plan, but his Central Park concert went ahead and drew an estimated 980,000 people. The album became his forward music to reach 10 million sales. One track carried personal weight. In another's eyes, his duet with Trisha Yearwood reached number 2 on the country chart. In February 1998, the pair won a Grammy for Best Country Collaboration with Vocals. Their musical bond was now public. Double Live followed in 1998 and included more work with Trisha. The album reached number 1 on both major charts, became the best-selling live album of all time, earned a 25 times platinum certification, and ranked among the most shipped albums in U.S. music history. Yet at home, G's life had another rhythm. By 1998, he and Sandy were raising 3 daughters. Taylor, born in 1992, August in 1994, music, and Ally in 1996. He had named Taylor after James Taylor, one of his musical influences. The success brought a painful conflict. G seemed frustrated by the pull between career and family. He had talked about retirement in 1992 and again in 1995, but returned to touring. The public saw records, crowds, and television specials. The private side had a wife who knew him before fame, and 3 daughters growing up while their father crossed the world. By March 1999, G and Sandy had separated, and as his marriage was breaking apart, music made the strangest gamble of his career. Chris Gaines, divorce, and the decision to walk away. In 1999, G tried to become someone else in public. He created Chris Gaines, a fictional rock musician, for a planned film, Music, called The Lamb. The soundtrack Garth Brooks and the life of Chris Gaines arrived Music. In September, he appeared as Gaines in a fake Behind the Music special and performed on Saturday Night Live while hosting the episode as himself. The reaction was rough. Many people were confused by one of country's biggest music stars presenting himself as a made-up rock singer. The album reached number 2 on the Billboard 200 and sold more than 2 million copies. But that looked weak beside Garth's usual numbers. Stores